is Sport Fishing Championship.
SFC YouTube channel, killing it as always. Robbie Floyd, Peter Miller here with you. The final stop of the Sport Fishing Championship season. 12 of 12, Peter. This is it, and this is our second day of 3. It's about to get good.
Robbie, you got 100% batting right there. You got 100%. We're at the 70th San Juan International Billfish Tournament with 286 anglers and 60 boats, 8 countries represented.
Updated leaderboard. Where we sitting? Where we sitting? When we went away earlier yesterday, Pillo looked good, but look who's up there with him. My brother from a different mother. We got a tie, and who would have thought? Quantified. Really? Could they win 4 events this year alone?
They just float right to the top in every tournament. They just right there, and they rise to the occasion because they're versatile and they're good and they know how to win.
Again, you see the Juracia, Tuna Master. Tuna Master actually doing well today, catching a couple of fish as well. But it's all about making that big jump. And to make that big jump in the Sport Fishing Championship, you need to catch blue marlin. We've seen a couple of teams now with 3 blue marlin in the tally. There's only been 1 sailfish caught, no white marlin, Peter, but these are fertile waters. Today hasn't been as good. The reports hasn't been as good as it was yesterday. But I think it's just a matter of time, isn't it?
Well, I think the blue marlin, congregation over there is pretty heavy right now. The white marlin pushed out, the blue marlin come in, they're working on those fads. There were like 25 to 27 blue marlin caught on the first day, and they were caught early in the morning, and they were caught all throughout the day. It was a phenomenal bite. Second day, a little slower. We're kind of watching things progress, but they're definitely still catching them. And you see Quantified creeping up that leaderboard, and now they are tied for first place as we stand.
And they still have more time in day number 2, but it started off this morning at 7:30 a.m. They got a little earlier start than yesterday's 8 o'clock lines in the water. They will be stopping their fishing day at 5:30. For the San Juan International, been doing it a long time, 70 years. You pointed it out. The Club Nautico was in the background just then. I was talking about it to you just before we went on camera. I mean, it is a cool clubhouse, isn't it?
It really is, and it has so much history there. I mean, like when you say 70 years, there's a lot that's gone into this. It went from tiny little boats trying to work their way out there to these big sport fishers, up to 90 footers. Look at the Quantified. We got a 64 Spencer there. Beautiful boat, tons of anglers, great teamwork on that boat, and we've got Tex at the helm taking them to the top of the leaderboard yet again.
We have our point structure. It stays the same, whether it's the first stop or the last stop. But we may talk about local things and a little bit different local scoring now. They count a sailfish as much locally as they do, say, a blue marlin. But in the SFC, those blues are worth 350 points apiece. 25 have been caught already throwing a sailfish. That was just from day 1.
Yeah, that was a pretty good day. But what's nice about this area, too, is that they got a vibrant social scene. They've got delicious cuisine. They've got stunning scenery. And then they've got these big 70 boats and 286 anglers going out to catch those point precious blue marlin at 350 apiece. And there's a bunch of them out there.
They took off this morning. I don't think it was the mass start or the shotgun start like we've seen on previous days. They could actually get in the water maybe a little bit earlier. They can fish a little bit earlier. But the runs that these guys make aren't really all that far, really. I mean, 10, 15 miles would be probably a max for these guys.
Yeah, and sometimes they're fishing only in 600 feet of water. You don't need to go to the great depths like some of these guys do in the Gulf. They're fishing, 5,000 feet, off the canyons, off Jersey. They're fishing really, really deep water at times. But the fish definitely stay close to shore with those fads, with the congregations of baits, with those steep drop-offs.
See one of the cool sites there, of course, the Castillo San Felipe del Morro right there on the corner, the inlet. On the right side, just off the picture, there was a little castle, a little fort there, so they could hit them from both sides. But they started getting so many big cannons on the main side, they didn't even need that other side. They could just cross it. But
I'll tell you what's happening. Quantified's got the cannons out. They are shooting their cannons, and they are scoring. This is earlier today on Team Quantified, just about 5 miles out. He's dropping. Looks like he's going to be dropping through the rigger there. He's in the clip. He's going to go to free spool, and it's going to pop. Should snap out right there.
We saw yesterday them with a
boom.
Oh, about took the rod out of his hand, didn't it?
Well, that was the idea. Feeding it through the rigger, dropping it back, free spool, locking it up, and the fish was kind of maybe coming at him. Maybe it was a belly of the line, and it finally came tight, and he had the patience to wait for it. And this is what we talk about. This is making the best of your hookups, of the eats, of everything that's going on out there, and that's batting 100%.
And yesterday, and that's what I was getting to till we had that catch, is they had a fish on. They fought it for 2.5 hours, and that is their time limit. They did not get it in that amount of time. And that particular angler, he was spent. I heard he was locking up, dehydrated. I mean, you got to take care of yourself out of the water, especially first day of the tournament. You've been fighting for 2.5 hours.
And it's a high pressure situation. So not only do you have the dehydration, but you have the stress, and then you have the heat. You know, you're out there, it's 85, 90 degrees. You're fighting a fish standing up for 2.5 hours. Not many people can do that.
Right.
You know, that takes a toll on your body. I've had some friends cramp up. You know, you got to shake it out, and sometimes they actually go into full cramp mode, and you got to kind of disqualify the fish, put the person down, and try to fight the fish to completion and redeploy the baits.
I think that's what they did yesterday. That's a blue. That's a good size blue there. That comes into the bigs category here so far. What we've seen this week.
Yeah, that's
making up some ground though. That's what I like to see.
You can see the mate jumping there, kind of like almost like willing the line to come faster onto the reel. But that is a big fish.
Look at that pushback.
Right there, they're about. It looks like they're right there.
Justin's not messing around on this one, is he? I mean,
okay, they got that one.
Yeah, they got it. He was not messing. He was pushing to it. It was going to be now or never. Now, once they make contact with that leader, it's okay. The points are done. It's qualified.
Putting out that big purple-green teaser.
Watch out.
Hey, they're good. There you go.
Nobody saw it. Don't worry. Nobody saw that.
Nobody saw it on.
Nobody saw it on
anywhere.
television or YouTube, and yeah, nobody saw that.
Well, here we've got Quantified rolling out there as they normally do in that beautiful Spencer. They have 3 blue marlin as of now for 1,050 points. They are sitting tied for first place.
Joe Durham, the team owner, is probably watching this on YouTube or will watch the CBS show right after this and go, those are my boys. You know, instead of, say, fishing another tournament or, say, the White Marlin Open, they started making their push down to here. And look at the fish catches from day 1 and 2 from last year to this year. More on day 1 this year, but day 2 last year was the strong day.
A lot of times it's a barometric pressure change. It's the bait has moved and the guys haven't located them. And sometimes it's just a little weather change, you know, but who knows? Day 3 could flip it all the way around and they could crush them.
Weather could be a factor. We know that there's some storms off up towards the northeast. There's the fish aggregating devices we have talked about prior. R1 through R7 there. Some subterranean, some above. And then we have a lot of featured boats out there on the water trying to get you the inside scoop as it happens. Let's go out on the water with Sorry Victoria, last year's winner.
Good morning, folks. My name is Tito Saavedra. I belong to the Sorry Victoria fishing team. We are beginning the second day of fishing. Yesterday we caught and released 1 blue marlin. As a matter of fact, a very healthy one. Estimate weight between 350 and 400 pounds. Today is the second day of fishing, and we're really looking forward to see if we can capitalize today, since the moon is on its crescent phase, and theoretically we should have a very good day today as well as tomorrow. So weather conditions seems to be okay. Calm seas, although it's not sunny, but they're there, and as long as they're there, they have to eat, and we will look forward to catch a couple of them.
Like we said there, we picked up a couple of things we wouldn't know otherwise, right? Crescent moon. Is that a good or bad thing? He was thinking it was on the good side.
Well, I think things seem to be going very well for him. I mean, he talked about that blue marlin, that 400-pounder roughly, and you know, I was looking at the time codes on these fish. That was a 56-minute fight. Some of these blue marlin have been only 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 minutes. This was a 56-minute fight, so it shows you that that big blue really put its shoulders into it and put out those pecs and really worked it hard, but they got the fish, and that was a great job by Sorry Victoria.
It makes me think that there was something wrong with that fish that Quantified had on that they didn't get in 2.5 hours, like you often talk about. We're watching Luis Santana here yesterday on his catch, but on Quantified, did they have it tail wrapped? Something, you know, to keeping that fish, or was it just being ornery and staying down?
Well, it just could have been a jumbo. It could have been a big fish. You know, Sorry Victoria's fish right there. You see it has big shoulders going away, and it makes you go, ooh, like that.
Right.
They're going at it fast right now, and he's winding like a maniac trying to get there, and they're going to get there, obviously. But, you know, you never know what went on the Quantified deal. It could have been wrapped, or it could have just been a, you know, that bigger fish that just took a long time. They can be pretty ornery, Robbie. You know, they're not those you know, silly little fish we catch in the pond. Not like a little 2-pound catfish.
No.
It's a 400-pound blue marlin, maybe 5.
Yeah, and you see just how he's hunkered down. I mean, right now he's probably just holding ground, but also trying to stretch the back out for just so and regroup, because when it comes time, it's time to fire it up again.
I think the fish is sounding right now. It's dropping down. It's sounding, going deep, and he's actually being very smart and relaxing, standing up straight, letting the lactic acid out of his muscles. But now he's back to winding. But that's the move you want to make. You don't want to just wind when you don't have to. You want to wind when it's appropriate, and that's generally a lot of the time. But boy, when they sound, take a break, straighten out your arms, shake your hands out.
You say sounding, it makes me think of a submarine, but that's exactly what it's doing, right? I mean, it's just down there like a submarine. Here's the case, so he's able to bring it back up. If that fish was hunkered down or trying to go down and he's reeling here, a lot of bad things can happen. But when you're making ground, even little bits here, I mean, he's putting it to it.
That's heat.
He get a roll out of it.
That's some heat right there, but he can't do anything right there. Maybe one crank, you see? He is no quitter, that Lewis right there, Santana. He is cranking them, and, you know, that's what you got to do. You got to get those cranks in. But right there, you can see the fish. He's taking line. He's creeping it off one crank. And if he can get those one crank, it's a game of inches, Robbie. I always say it. Al Pacino said it best on Any Given Sunday. It's a game of inches.
Seeing a little bit of vegetation on the line there, something that they went through as well. Making up ground, that boat is pushing back. We're seeing the prop wash of another boat over there as well. It shows you the tight confines and the close quarters they're in, making those runs past those fads. There's a boat there as well.
Yeah, you generally see that when you have fads, especially when someone's hooked up. They're going to be trolling in your vicinity, hoping to pick off another fish that was cruising with that fish. I saw some footage the other day with 10 marlin free swimming. It was in the Pacific, and they were just cruising. A guy took it from a helicopter, and it was incredible to see. They were probably 100 feet apart, but just hunting, just going, just kind of working.
Like a herd of them.
Exactly, a gaggle.
Yeah.
A squadron.
Flock.
Pack.
I still like that.
You see what he's got there? He's got his clips, and he's also got his pins, his pegs that can go in there.
What do you mean?
Different strokes for different folks. I mean, you can go in there with your carabiner clips or whatever clip you have, or maybe he prefers that setup. It's an easy in-out. To each his own. He's got the rubber band on his wrist. A lot of times he'll use that rubber band to put the baits up in the rigger so it can't free line through the rigger. It'll just snap out. It's always good to have rubber bands on your wrist. We tend to put like 5 or 10 on every morning and kind of go through them and reload.
Said it's right there, and he's like, that's a billfish. So he had, Peter, we saw this yesterday, he had the leader all the way there. Why was there any confusion from the mate at that particular point? That didn't make sense to me.
I think the mate was, what it seems to me is the mate was basically saying, okay, your tip is up, you wind down once, you got it, I grab the leader. The angler is saying, hey, I got the leader out of the water, grab it now.
Yeah.
So it was a little miscommunication, but guess what? 350 points on the board. They're feeling good. They're going to straighten it out. They're going to put the baits right back out. No harm, no foul. Let's go.
There was a communication issue there, and everybody else seemed to be on the same page except for the mate that time, because it wasn't one person saying, get the leader, get the leader. It was everybody saying, grab the leader.
Yeah, and sometimes that moment right there, the fish could pop off.
Yeah.
And that is a heartbreaker, and that's why it's such a high-pressure, stressful situation, and that's why they're fired up about it, especially the angler, because he just gave it everything, so his adrenaline is flowing, and his testosterone's cranking, and he's like, come on.
Sure enough, we're going to step aside here in just a bit and work our way through these first few days. You can see these boats are making passes, whether it's left or right. They're trying to chill around those fads and bring in the big one.
SFC coverage of the San Juan International Billfish Tournament is sponsored by Visit South Padre Island, Total Home Performance, Denison Yachting, and by Salt Life.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
This summer, take a break with the family and visit the best beach in Texas. You're not building just a sandcastle. You're building memories. South Padre Island is the perfect place for fun in the sun. Book your summer getaway today. Visit sopadre.com.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
Front yards have long reigned as the showpiece of the house. But just like a good mullet, we all know the party's in the back. Barbecue Guys is committed to helping create amazing backyard experiences. With the best grills in the game, outdoor essentials, and free design services for building your ultimate backyard. It's time to bring the front yard's reign to an end.
All right, boys, let's eat.
Stop on by, barbecueguys.com.
Are you ready for the ultimate luxury fishing experience? Join the Sport Fishing Championship talent on the SFC Experience, where you'll explore incredible fisheries and enjoy world-class hospitality from diverse cultures and SFC partner locations. With the SFC Experience, you'll create unforgettable memories with friends, families, or colleagues. Book your trip today and embark on the adventure of a lifetime with the SFC Experience.
SFC coverage of the San Juan International Billfish Tournament is sponsored by BioLite, Mercury Marine, Durabright, and by Hop Water, a non-alcoholic sparkling hopped water.
Beautiful waters of Puerto Rico. Discovered a long, long time ago. I believe Ponce de Leon came here with Christopher Columbus on Columbus's second voyage out this way. Turned up to be the first governor of this island, but it's the host San Juan is to the International Billfish Tournament. They've been doing it now for 70 years. It is really a fine facility. Club Nautico is. This fishery is amazing. The historical portions and right there, and somebody is locked up, like whether it be some of the English or the Dutch from the 14s, 15s, 1600s.
I think I could break out of those, Robbie. I detected some Velcro, and I detected possibly some plastic.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to break through with that. We're looking at Quantified right now, looking like they're ready to drop some stuff back there. Their spread's missing a few items.
That's a multi-tier dredge. You see the big weight there in the front, which keeps it down and plowing. And then they have the multi-tiers of the mullet. They have mud flaps. They've got a little bit of everything, drawing the fish up to the boat. That was live on Quantified. Let's go to Arabita. That's the 53-foot Viking based out of Puerto Rico. Owner Luis Cordova. Looks like they're a little more outside. Again, there's a lot of fads, a lot of areas to choose from. Don't stay on the inside, I'll go outside. It's still a short run. Have a seat. Get a big rod in your hand and fight a giant marlin. That's what it's about. These guys are having a good time out there. A little cloudy, a little overcast. That is a good way to fish. These waters, this is today at 10:17 a.m. Great conditions. You know, little overcast always helps.
You're getting that with the weather out there. We've got one that's trying to fly away off in the distance, but it's good to see a fish catch earlier in the morning. Ricardo on that boat, Jose, Luis, and Andy. Once again, we're seeing a little bit of something
Just a little bit, and it shook off. You're not seeing the big mats, and that makes it very difficult to fish when you see that stuff and you've got weeds on your baits. The fish do not care to eat a ballyhoo that has a clump of weeds or a wig across its face. They want a clean swimming bait. No merkins.
They don't want a wig across its face. That makes sense.
It's hard to see.
Hey, they're having a good time. They're smiling. We're not seeing the struggle bus here.
No, that's good news. Anytime you see smiles on the boat and you see the squid chains hanging from the riggers, things are going good.
Did we identify who?
Ooh, look at the multicolored sneaks.
Did we identify who this was? I don't know. I can't see it on there. Yeah, they're getting it in. They're reeling just fine here, and all smiles, Peter.
He's no stranger to guiding the line onto the reel with his thumb. While talking to people, he's still guiding the line, looking around, doing his thing. He's strapped in. He's got the bucket harness seat there. He also has a safety harness underneath, which is clipped in, just in case he's going to go over. But obviously, he's ready for battle, ready for warfare.
And making up ground on the way down, pulling for it tightly. Now, the line size, a maximum of 50-pound line here. We see that Dayglow fluorocarbon.
They call it high vis. Dayglow was back in your days in Texas.
I'm
in college.
For the color challenged. That could be high vis orange.
That's a high vis yellow. I call it a yellow.
Yeah.
We use that on the kites a lot. A lot of the guys started using orange, and I find that high vis yellow greenish line to be my favorite.
All right, we're seeing a big jumper at distance, blue, right?
It's a blue, and it looks like a lure.
Yeah, artificial lure there, getting spit a little bit, and they had it at distance, and they were looking down there for a second. You know what happened? We talk about oftentimes the one that got away. That was a case of the one that got away. Arabita, I'm going to say that maybe that was Andy. It was Andy, Luis, Jose, or Ricardo, but the one that didn't get away is our field reporter out there, correspondent Katie Sawyer. She's live and on site at the Club Nautico. Nice foliage you have behind you there, and I know you had the taste of SFC last night. The one time we're in the studio, once again, I wish we were there in the PR.
Hey. Man, it's good to be here. It's good to see you guys. The weather is different today. There's a big storm forming north of here. We're trying to avoid the rain right now, trying to make it happen. I can't toot Michael Douglas's horn enough on making this production come to life. And being here at IBT, everyone has been so hospitable. The fishing's a little slow today, as you guys have seen, but the teams are out there working really hard to get some fish out of the water.
Excellent. Have you had any personal stories that you've heard when you walked the docks last night, talking to some of the anglers that came back about their ratios or their catches or misses or almosts?
Yes, so we have had a lot of fish show up behind boats today specifically and not eat. A lot of these teams are fishing lures. There aren't a lot of teams fishing what we call swim baits with circle hooks. And so I think that we've had some lazy fish with this lack of current. The water temperature, I had a lot of guys tell me that the water temp has been really warm. It's sitting at about 85, 86 degrees, and they're saying that the fish around here, they generally really feed at about 82 to 83 degrees. Mm-hmm. And I think that might be playing a significant role on their expectations and what is happening offshore of here. Now, I have heard today specifically that Team Sari Victoria, they had a blue marlin of about 250 pounds on for 30 minutes before it pulled the hook about 400 meters from the boat. So that's really it's a hard one for them. And a handful of other boats have seen fish show up behind the spread, but just not commit and not eat. So we've got some lazy fish out there, which makes sense with that high water temperature.
Yeah, we saw that with Arabita just a second ago. They had one, fought it, everything looked good till it wasn't. Let's talk about that weather and whether it's a tropical storm or if it's moved into hurricane strength. I just saw a little picture a moment ago. Things are not looking so good up north of you, but how do you think that's affecting these fish here?
Yes, so we have a tropical storm forming pretty significantly just north of Puerto Rico, and what that's going to do, anytime you have a storm forming north in the northern hemisphere, it's pulling all the wind, all of the current towards the center of the storm. So what that means is we're having a lot of stillness here off the northern coast of Puerto Rico. We're getting a lot of overcast. The clouds aren't moving. And so a lot of these anglers are actually believing that with the overcast conditions, the fish aren't seeing the baits. I have a theory that with the lack of current, the fish aren't going to be feeding. They're not going to be as enticed to eat the baits. I think that this is really kind of a recipe for not your most ultimate conditions, but we're still seeing fish getting caught out there today.
Thanks a lot, Katie, for the update. And you've got a weather girl in your future as well, possibly. We'll see. Hopefully that weather will turn things around as we're looking at Doña Lucy live right now, and you see that overcast condition. I mean, that's heading towards that tropical storm out there to the left, and with that wind and all that, you know, pulling it, you think that would kind of stir things up. Is he actually hooked up right there, maybe?
No, he was dropping. He was getting ready to drop, and now he's tight right there. That is Quantified. That is hooked up right there, bringing everything in. He's tight.
I think this was a little earlier, just before we came on air onto YouTube here. And again, they had two fish after one late yesterday and then one earlier today. Could this be their third?
Lighter tackle, and let's see what it looks like out there. It's a smaller fish.
Is that a mighty whitey? Are we getting our first white?
I think it's a tiny blue.
Oh, it is.
A tiny blue, jumping perfectly at the boat, erecting that dorsal fin, showing that point at the top. You know, we talked about earlier, you had asked me about the conditions and why the bite may be changed, and I kind of mentioned the barometric pressure, the weather change, the weather patterns with that storm, you know, taking things and moving things around a little bit, and maybe the fish that are coming up, that are in those teasers, that are coming up for those bites, it might be a small body of fish that's here that the guy's already kind of tangled with and caught or released, and maybe they're coming up and looking, going, you know, my mouth still hurts a little bit. Yeah. So maybe tomorrow, I'm going to heal this one up. I'm going to put some duct tape right there, right in the tiny hole.
Van Witchers, it looks like, with the catch here. Can they get it to the boat? Oh man, he is flying. Keep it on top. Keep it on top, Bubba.
He's got it. Those gear ratios and those reels. This is what these guys do. They turn the reels. Whoa! They don't do that.
It's perfect. No, don't do that. Don't do that. They're just trying to get to at this point, if they can just make it. Come on. Come on, make
What's
contact.
the terminology, Robbie, when you're in the motocross world, when a fish does something like that? What would you say?
Man, I don't know.
I think you'd say brap.
That's what it was doing. It was going brap right across the surface. Yep. Now he can power it in a little bit more with being a small fish in this 50-pound
He's putting some serious action on that rod. You know,
maybe a softer tip.
It does have a softer tip. You know, power upwards and fast down. Power up, fast down. That's the key. But you know, maybe they have this fish already on the leader. I don't know. That fish was really close.
I think it was just shy, but they were trying to do that mad dash, and I think they come up a little short.
So these fish get down deep, and all of a sudden they're comfortable in that colder temperature. Katie was saying that warmer water is making them like maybe not so nibbly, you know. So they want to get down a little cooler temperature, and they like to sit down there. He's got a lot of heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 6 guides bent right there, you know, and the last one is the 7th. He's got 2 hands on the foregrip. That is a lot of heat on that rod. But they feel like they've got him, and you know, Tex is saying, hey, do what you're doing.
Yeah, he's not batting an eye underneath those glasses. So, I mean, he's confident in his crew right there and what he is. And that rod could be a softer rod altogether, you know? Like, I mean, it is. It could be the dynamic of that rod making it look worse than it is.
It's the parabolic,
right.
You know, effectiveness of it is in full effect right now.
There's your word for the day. I'm proud of you, man.
It's a parabola.
I'm proud of you. Just like the skis when they made that hourglass shape, you know? Back when you used to use the skis, snow skis, they were straight ones, and they went to the parabolics.
Yeah, and now the rear end of the skis are tipped up a little bit, just so you can do some fancy tricks, just for about a second before you break your neck.
We're not looking for any, fancy tricks here. We're just trying to get to the leader for Quantified, because you know this would be that third fish. When we saw them in the lead, this is it. So we know that they get this blue marlin, two the leader.
There you go. That's what they wanted on the other boat.
Yeah.
They wanted the leader to be touched there at that position. This mate here on the Quantified was ready for that grab at that moment.
See the difference? One's waiting and reaching and waiting for you to bring that leader to him. The other one had the leader there, and he's like, just grab it. Just grab it.
Taking wraps right there, ready to pop them off with that lighter leader, which you know they use. Probably a fluorocarbon in the, 100-pound class.
This tells us they're also using bait, actual fish for bait, not just a lure, right? Dead bait.
Correct.
Because you'd want to get that lure back. See, he doesn't have that weight advantage. Some of those 250, 300, 400-pound guys back there just do the boing.
Yeah. Generally, you want to get them up as close as you can and give them a little cut as close as you can to that circle hook. That's really the goal. But sometimes you can't get them all the way up, but you got to fight to get them so you can redeploy your baits. But you got to try your best to get as close as you can.
Are you saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance, Robbie. 1 in 5 million. That fish is in Mach speed.
Yeah. He was keeping him skimming while he was on top, just running that. But are you saying there's a chance that Quantified could win 4 events in one season? I mean,
yeah, there is a chance. They're tied for first right now with Pio.
That's pretty impressive. And again, I think no catches on day 1 last year. They had 1 on day 1 this year, and now 2 today. When I talked to Justin, he was hopeful, and now I see why. This guy does his homework, and it's paying off.
Hey, what you got? Furiosa. That means fierce. They're sitting in 3rd. They're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Tuna Master catching a couple today too, moving up the leaderboard in the top 3.
In Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua. We're proud, passionate, and full of life. On our island, adventure finds you. Strangers aren't strangers for long. The size of the audience doesn't change the beauty of the music, and we celebrate every last ray of sun. Live Boricua.
Salt Life, the official sunglass partner of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Are you ready for the ultimate luxury fishing experience? Join the Sport Fishing Championship talent on the SFC Experience, where you'll explore incredible fisheries and enjoy world-class hospitality from diverse cultures and SFC partner locations. With the SFC Experience, you'll create unforgettable memories with friends, families, or colleagues. Book your trip today and embark on the adventure of a lifetime with the SFC Experience.
Every day on the water is a blank canvas. You can reach new waters and ride endless waves. So drop the hammer or the anchor and let adventure be your guide. Mercury engines are made for exploring. So are you. Go boldly.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
SFC coverage of the San Juan International Billfish Tournament is sponsored by Garmin. Invincible boats, barbecue guys, and by SFC Experience.
Where's Ben Oliver at? I know where he's at. He's in Puerto Rico. Only one man can shoot sweet pictures like that, Peter, and zooming in and out of those trees, swinging in there like a spider monkey.
Some people can fly drones, and some people have licenses to fly drones, but this man, Ben Oliver, he's the champ.
Benjamin does well. I have not yet got to tour the Castillo there. I want to do it. They had several castles. Some defended the sea, some defended from the mainland side, and there's like a 3-mile wall that goes around, you know, those areas, part of old San Juan. It's pretty cool, and it seemed indefensible till the Dutch come in there and they jumped on it back in 1625, burnt the place down. But man, it is really cool and a great place to go visit the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico.
Let's take it back to day one, Doña Lucy.
Don't we? Remember, they could put their lines in the water at 8 o'clock. They left a little earlier than that, but they put the lines in the water at 8. 1 hour into this thing, it was hammer time.
You see him raising that value, keeping it up on the surface, trying to visualize where it is in regard to the fish that's coming down the spread. He's got it raised up, waiting for that moment. He's waiting patiently, and now the fish has switched to the right side. He's got to make that switch. He's got to keep it up in the air. You do not want it to sink and then skip out of the fish's mouth. You want to have a consistent drag, consistent swim. He's getting ready to drop right there. As soon as you see that tip lower, you know he's going free spool.
Is he looking for his wave number 2 right here?
Nah, he's more like 4 waves back.
He's on number 4. Mm-hmm. We're still seeing them pull in the stuff.
About to happen. About to happen.
He's still feeling it with that left hand.
There it is. There's the drop.
Flip it. There you go. Smack it up, flip it.
Rub it down.
Oh, no.
And he's tight. They are tight on the Doña Lucy. I can barely see him with a camouflage. All I see is a flag back there. You know, hooked up with a blue marlin, calm water conditions, nice temperatures, not too hot. Out on the water, of course, but this is what you want. You know, you want a medium size to a smaller size fish. You got a nice, well-versed angler on the rod. You know, he knows exactly what he's doing. Makes for a nice day out on the water with a blue marlin on the end of the line, and then possibly money on the end of that line.
Ricardo Quiñones with the catch. See his mates, they're having a little snacky poo out there on the water as well. No concerns, no worries. But we actually have seen one. We've talked about Quantified missing one. Katie said sorry Victoria missed one. We saw Arabita miss one.
A lot of window shoppers coming up today. They call them window shoppers. They come into the spread. Everyone gets all worked up. You're trying to do the bait and switch, bringing everything in, deploying your bait, waiting for the bite, and they just swim off. And you can't figure out what it is. But a lot of times it's a change in the weather. It's a change in the conditions. It's a barometric drop or rise. You know, the fish will change. And that's exactly what they've done on day 2. This is day 1 on Doña Lucy, and this is a quick fish. This is almost in real time. You know, this fish was about a 6-minute catch and release.
So he's got that fighting belt. He didn't really even need it. I mean, the power that they're backing up, the ground that he's making, a little more comfortable on the stuff and stuff in the body, but he didn't know he could be catching 10 fish this day.
He's got the fighting belt on. You know, he's got the kidney harness on just for extra support. And they're working it. You know, that fish is on the surface. That's why they're racing back. You never race back when the fish is straight down, obviously, because you're going to run it over. So they're racing back because the fish is up. But that is a high water. Water's coming in hot. They're going for it. They're definitely going for the release.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you, you know, when we were at the White Marlin Open, your buddy was on a boat that we thought might have been able to take that $6 million prize. They were fighting it. What happened there?
Yeah, there's a leader, by the way. There's a leader. There's the
That's
catch.
350 points.
Yeah, so to getting back to that, my buddy Josh Green, nice fish right there, pops up. You see how they come up real quick out of nowhere, and it's a done deal. That's why you want to touch that leader. That's why they had that miscommunication on the other boat. The angler says, hey, grab the leader. It's there. He's like, I was waiting for one more crank.
Yeah.
You got to grab that leader when you get the shot. So my buddy Josh Green has white marlin gear out, hoping for a big white marlin, winds up hooking a 650, 700-pound blue on white marlin gear. We have the footage, and it was just an incredible battle.
It could have won.
It would have won. I think it would have won. It was a really, really big fish, and unfortunately, it finally popped off in the props, in the tackle down there.
I thought I'd heard that. When you're talking about backing up, you got to watch out because you got a little sharp, pointy thing down there at the bottom that can do a lot of damage.
Couple of them.
Yeah.
And a rudder.
Yes. No problem with the Doña Lucy there, though. That's why they're in the top 10, currently in 6th with 425 points. You throw the blue and the sail together. That's where you get the 350 and 75 point total. But it's more of a cloudy day today. The fish catching hasn't been as prevalent as it was on day 2, but there's still time in the day. What do they come in at 5:30 Eastern time today? So they've got about 2 hours left of fishing.
I bet you it clears up for tomorrow. A lot of times these storms will pull all that moisture with it, and it'll move up and away, and they'll have some clear, sunny conditions, and the bite may turn back on tomorrow.
We saw some nice catches, though. We're seeing a move by Quantified. I'm going to take one last quick look and see if there's any more fish catches. Yeah, I don't have any reports this very second, but we're going to be at the top of the hour on CBS Sports Network. I think you should do it again. Hopefully we'll have more updates, Peter.
Oh, yeah, forget about it. We got to do it. And my friend Josh, by the way, it got stuck in the props because the fish was so big and the tackle was so small they couldn't even budge it.
That's why. All right, the 70th run of the IBT. We're done here on YouTube. We'll see you at the top of the hour on CBS Sports Network.